What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 lies you believe about Britain. It's a very harsh accusation, the top 10 lies I definitely believe about Britain. I was thinking about the title of this video, and I was thinking, lies is a really harsh word. Are these British stereotypes or just weird things that Americans tend to believe about Britain because we don't know any better? Like we think that all British people are chugging gallons of tea constantly. Or just trying to think, what exactly could this video be about? The 10 lies that I believe about Britain. Maybe I don't even realize I believe these lies. And who is this person out there? Like the spreader of British lies who's been... like there's this guy out there who's just been spreading the lies about Britain. But honestly, I do believe there's probably going to be a decent amount of truth to this video, because there tends to be a lot of stuff Americans think happens in Britain and that British people do that is either really exaggerated or not true. So I'm actually thinking I could learn a thing or two from this video. So without any further ado, let's take a look. Let's see.
It's time to brush up on your British general knowledge. I'm Ashley with WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 lies you believe about Britain.
Okay.
Before we begin, we published about our latest video about this country. Number 10, all swans are property of the Queen.
Hey, wait a minute. Yeah. I reacted to a video about the Queen a while back. And there's a royal swan keeper. And it told me that all swans were the property of the Queen. Maybe king now. What? How did they know? Wait, maybe this video is gonna be... Is this video gonna be spot on? I did believe that. I've been lied to. Wow, I feel deceived.
We've all been brought up to believe that all swans belong to the Queen, and therefore harming them or eating them is a big no-no.
Okay.
However, one 5-year-old swan enthusiast...
I wasn't gonna eat them. I was just... Maybe you could pet them? Is this common in Britain? Do British people... Are they under the impression that all swans belong to the Queen? Because that's what I had heard, too. And I'm in the United States.
Enthusiast wrote to the Queen asking if she could have one, and the response she got surprised us all. A representative wrote back debunking the common misconception that seems to date back to the 12th century. The monarch actually only owns all unmarked mute swans in open water around certain areas of the River Thames and Windsor. Every year...
Oh, well, okay. I thought the whole concept of the Queen owning swans in general was about to be debunked. But apparently it's just a technicality where some of them actually do belong to the Queen, which is kind of funny, because I thought the whole concept was just saying, oh, this is silly, any of us believed this at all. But apparently it's kind of true. Okay, but not all swans. Okay.
Local children are invited to witness the swan-upping event, which helps keep track of the birds.
And all that happened because someone contacted the Queen or her representatives and asked if they could have a swan, and they were so, perturbed by that, they wrote back, and they were like, no. Get this straight, buddy. We don't own all the swans. You can do whatever you want with all those normal swans. Well, it's nice that they elaborated on that.
Number 9, London is buried under fog. Fog everywhere. So begins Charles Dickens' Bleak House, and yet somehow the reputation has stuck even to this day.
Yeah, okay. I haven't thought about this in a while. But I would say London being foggy is something. If you ask the average American, have you heard that London's really foggy? A lot of them, including myself, would be like, yeah, I've heard that. I've been told that that's true. So, okay. Another lie. Man, I've been lied to so much I didn't even realize. I've just been taking the good faith word of all these all these British lie tellers.
Due to the Industrial Revolution during the 19th century, Londoners did see an average of 63 foggy days per year,
Oh.
and in 1952, the Great Smog was said to have killed around 12,000 people.
Smoke from the Capitol's chimneys is being
Oh, well, maybe some of this myth, we'll say, even though some of it started in truth. And now, in the more modern day, it's becoming less and less so.
trapped at street level, which is aggravating the fog.
Nowadays, you'll actually find that London, or anywhere else in the UK really, doesn't even cut the top 10 foggiest countries around the world.
Okay.
With Grand Banks, Newfoundland, Canada taking the top spot.
Okay.
Once coal fires were banned, London saw less fog, and today it's not as common as you would think.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that. London is foggy. It's kind of cool. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Like, set a mood, a tone. It was kind of romantic in a way. I'm kind of sad that that's a lie. Man, my whole life is a lie at this point about Great Britain, at least.
Number 8, Lady Godiva rode naked on horseback.
I'm not familiar with this one. I feel like this is some kind of pop culture reference that I'm not getting, because this is this is so specific.
Lady Godiva wasn't just a made-up figure from a Tennyson poem or
I have heard the name Lady Godiva, maybe from a song or something, but I don't know about any naked horseback riding.
a delicious brand of chocolate. In Tennyson's versions of events,
Queen. It was a Queen song. Lady Godiva. Huh, okay.
Lady Godiva rode naked on horseback through the streets of Coventry in response to her husband Leofric's oppressive tax. In reality, there are some sources that suggest that her lord husband requested she do just that, but there is insufficient proof that she followed through.
What do you mean? We have a video recording of it right here. No. Gotcha. I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure this is a dramatic reenactment. Unless they had security cameras, like, catching her on horseback right here. But I'm thinking this is a movie or something, a reenactment.
With most historians insisting that it never happened. This story only started
Okay.
making the rounds around 100 years after her death, and by a monk whose storytelling didn't always adhere to the truth.
Okay.
Number 7, Great Britain, the UK, and England as synonyms.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if people in Great Britain and the UK and England are aware of this one enough. But this is probably my number one. Absolutely agree with this. Every American ever, alright, I'm exaggerating, but such a majority of Americans do not know that there is a difference between the UK, Great Britain, and England. They don't know that. They think it's all the same thing, all the same word. Don't understand the difference. And I definitely was one of those people for the longest time.
For England, James? No. For me.
Getting this wrong is a surefire way to make enemies across the UK. Just try asking a Scot what part of England they're from. Go ahead, we dare you.
Yeah.
Great Britain is an island made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. Great Britain and Northern Ireland together make up the United Kingdom. Emphasis on the Northern, yes, that's another border you don't want to mix up. We'd also tell you about the Channel Islands, British Isles, Isle of Man, and so on, but we suggest you get your head around the basics first.
Oh my gosh, there's more? There's even more things I don't even know that he just mentioned. I don't know those ones. Man, if an American ever asked a Scottish person where they were from in England, that would just be sad. I mean, Americans know there's a difference between Scotland, Ireland, England and Wales. They just don't know their relationship or where they are or anything about what makes up the UK and Great Britain, but we know some things, at least.
And then we can talk. Number 6, you're never far from a rat in London.
Oh, this is not true? This is a lie? I don't know. I would have, in any major city anywhere, like even New York City is kind of famous for having rats. So I just figured it's not even a slight on London. It's not even making fun of London. It's just like, I think any major city in the world probably has rats or something, but I've certainly heard of this one, rats in London, but okay, if it's very clean, fair enough.
Another stereotype of England's capital is that you're never more than 6 feet away from a rat at any given time.
Oh, I've never heard that phrase. You're never 6 feet from a rat. Okay, that's pretty extreme. That's a exaggeration, I hope.
Now, London is approximately 1,572 kilometers squared, and there are around 10.5 million rats in the UK. You do the maths. It's possible that a former Minister of Agriculture invented this little rumour to promote hygiene in homes, which makes you wonder just how bad things must have been. According to Dr. Dave Cow.
Oh, maybe someone working for the city started this rumor to get people to clean up a little more. Wow, okay. Man, that's that's deep. That's maybe smart, kind of deceptive. I don't know.
The truth is that you're more likely to be around 50 meters away from a rat at any time. Sounds a lot less disgusting now, right?
I guess.
Number 5, Richard III was a bad guy.
Richard III? I'm not actually familiar with Richard III, to be honest. Should I be embarrassed? Maybe this is more of a British thing, where British individuals have a misconception about this, but Americans don't even know who Richard III is. At least I don't.
Chances are, if you grew up in the UK, you were taught about the villainous Richard III, who walked around with a limp and had a hunchback. History tells us that he was this terrible geezer who stole the throne from his brother, locked his nephews in a tower, and ultimately had them killed.
Oh.
But in reality, when his reign came to an end, the Tudor dynasty took the throne. And let's just say that historians decided to record things a little differently.
So this is like a story that people in the UK are told growing up about Richard? And that has a lot of medical issues, apparently. And he's kind of a bad guy. But he's not a bad guy. It's all a lie. Okay. I mean, I'm willing to accept that. I don't care either way. I've never even heard of this till right now.
Shakespeare may have played his part in this retelling of events too. There's taking creative license, and then there's completely rewriting history.
A horse! My kingdom for a horse!
Number 4, Big Ben is a clock.
What? Big Ben. It is a clock. It's right there. I can see it. There's a clock on it. Wait. No, there's a difference. Oh, I learned this. At some point I learned this. Big Ben is the tower. Or the bell. Big Ben is the bell. It's not the clock. Oh, this is like a fun fact I learned not too long ago. Okay, I know this one.
One of the most iconic features of the London skyline has been dubbed Big Ben by tourists and locals alike.
Oh yeah, every tourist, at least everyone in the US, firmly calls this tower and the clock Big Ben. This would fool so many people. So many people. Oh yeah, I absolutely envisioned Big Ben, the tower, the clock. That's what Big Ben is. 'Cause it's big, it's a big tower, it makes sense. I want a petition for the tower to be called Big Ben, honestly. I don't want the little bell to be Big Ben. It kinda makes me sad.
But it wasn't always called that. In the Victorian era, it was called St. Stephen's Tower, and until recently, it was just named the Clock Tower. And you really can't go wrong with that. However, today its official name is the Elizabeth Tower, in celebration of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee in 2012.
Huh.
But as interesting as this is, it's all superfluous for the discussion at hand. That's because Big Ben is the nickname of the bell, not the tower that houses it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, wow.
Number 3, the Great Fire of London ended the plague.
The Great Fire of London. I'm gonna have to look into that. I've heard of that, never studied it or learned much about it, or how much damage it caused or the repercussions, so I didn't know that it supposedly ended the plague. That's kind of a fun, interesting association there. I can see where people would think that, but I don't know much about this one.
When you learned about the Black Plague at school, it was almost always immediately followed by a lesson about the Great Fire of London, because it was said that this fire, that devastated London, actually brought an end to the plague, right?
Oh.
Well,
Oh, were students in the UK actually taught this? Or people in Britain taught this? Interesting.
no, not really. The fire only burned up about a quarter of urban London, with the worst areas affected by plague, Whitechapel, Clerkenwell, and Southwark getting through it with barely a singe. By the time the fire started, deaths from plague were already on the decline, but once the fire was over, it was still not extinct.
So the plague was kind of declining just by coincidence, so an association was made between the fire and the plague going away. Okay, I can see where that could have happened.
Number 2, the royal family always lives in Buckingham Palace.
Oh, yeah, I would have thought this. I did think this. I bet, I know there's a lot more castles. God, yeah, there's a lot more fancy castles and stuff that the royalty gets to own and live in. So I guess that's the misconception here. So it's not that they just live in Buckingham Palace, God forbid. There's lots of other places they can live and other residents beyond the castles even.
Crowds swarm Buckingham Palace every year in the hope of seeing the changing of the guards, or better yet, a member of the royal family leaving the palace to run some royal errands.
Oh my gosh, I can see why they don't. I bet a bunch of royalty doesn't even like going to the Buckingham Palace, because it's like a tourist trap. It's a place where a bunch of people are swarmed around trying to get a peek at you. So, I'm sure they actually prefer to live and go to other residences where it's more private.
The only problem is, none of the royal family live full-time in Buckingham Palace. It's
Yeah.
more like the Queen's office and a nice venue for special events.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yes.
People also mistakenly look out for the Union Jack to know if the Queen is in, but it's actually a different flag, the Royal Standard, that's flown at the royal residences, Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or Sandringham House when she's present.
Oh, yeah. I thought they did fly the Union Jack differently when the Queen was in. I vaguely remember something like that. But that's not even true. Everything is just a lie. Man, come on.
Number 1, the Queen is all-powerful.
Okay, this is an interesting one. The Queen, or now King, is all-powerful. Yeah, I learned about this a while back in another video. I might have been fooled by this once upon a time, but I think most Americans know that the British royalty is more of an institution, a figurehead, representative of the nation. They're not literally making policies and ordering people to do stuff. So I can see where this is an exaggeration.
The job description of monarch has changed since the days of Henry VIII,
Yeah.
but the Queen still does have a number of powers, and it's not all about travelling the world and waving politely. But in today's British Constitution, she has ministers who are entrusted with exercising her powers. The Queen can summon Parliament, sign bills into laws, appoint or remove ministers, appoint the Prime Minister, and declare war, just to name a few.
Wow. I know that the Queen or King pretty much never does any of those things anymore, ever. but I'm shocked that they still technically have that ability. But if they ever exercised any of these powers, it'd probably be immediately written out of law to stop it. But it's interesting that some of these are still around.
Oh, really? Please.
Boo.
A lot of these motions are ceremonial, but it's good to know that if we were ever on the verge of war, the Queen has the power to pull that plug. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these.
Yeah, I agree with those. This was by Watch Mojo UK. I liked that. I really did like that. That was fascinating. Some of these I really was confused about. Some of these I knew, and some just seemed to be more of things that people who grew up in Great Britain might be confused about or not know, and that I've just never heard of, ever. So this was a great mix of things, honestly. That made it really interesting. What are some of the ones that I knew? The Swans not being property, London Fog, Lady Godiva, I didn't really know anything about that. Rats. I'm sure there are rats, though. Oh, Richard, didn't know about King Richard, Big Ben. I kind of knew about that. The Great Fire, I'm going to have to learn more about. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff on this list. I actually, this was very valuable to me. Very, very interesting, too. Anyway, if this video was valuable and interesting to you as well, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK, Great Britain, culture, stuff there, things that I have never ever seen or experienced before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.